welcome to IP Study Video Lectures. Today we're going to discuss the 6th chapter of English Grammar and we'll explore the topic verbs. Now what is a verb? A verb is a word that expresses an action or tells us about something, about a person or a thing. Let's read an example. I opened the door and went to the market. In this sentence, there are two actions described, opened and went. Hence, these are called verbs. In this lesson, we're going to study verbs in detail. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to define verbs and identify their role in sentences. Distinguish between transitive and intransitive verbs. Learn how to construct sentences using transitive and intransitive verbs. Analyze the role of auxiliary verbs in forming sentences. So, be with us in the whole chapter. Let's start. What is a verb? As I told you, a verb is a word that expresses an action or tells us about something in a sentence. It helps us to complete the meaning of the sentence. Let's read some more examples before we go forward. I wrote 2 letters yesterday. He has been waiting for 2 hours. She is playing in the park. Now, in sentences A, the verb has only one word. In B, we have 3 verbs. In C, we have 2 verbs. Hence, these words are describing the actions in the sentences. Few verbs are also connecting the action with the subject to make the complete flow in the sentence. For example, she is playing in the park. So she is the subject, in the park is the predicate, is the helping verb, and playing is the verb. We're going to discuss the roles of all the verbs in detail as we go further. Now, there are different kinds of verbs. Let's study each kind in detail. The 2 kinds are transitive verb and intransitive verb. The transitive verbs are those verbs which require an object to form the complete meaning of the sentence. Whereas intransitive verbs are those verbs which do not require an object to complete the meaning of the sentence. How? Let's study them. Ayan likes coffee. Now here, Ayan is talking about coffee. We are referring Ayan and coffee. So to complete the meaning of the sentence, we have used the verb likes. Hence, the verb likes needed an object to complete the meaning. Similarly, he has written an email to his aunt. Now, if the sentence would be he an email to his aunt, it is not making the complete sense. Therefore, we have used verbs has written with an email to his aunt to complete the meaning of the sentence. Therefore, these verbs required an object to complete the meaning of the sentence, hence they are called transitive verbs. What are intransitive verbs? As I told you, intransitive verbs do not require an object. Let's see some examples. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Riya went to the park. These are called intransitive verbs. Freezes and went. Here, the verb freezes did not need any object to complete the meaning. In the second sentence, the verb went did not need any object to complete the meaning. Hence, the verbs which do not require an object are called intransitive verbs. Now, there is one special trick to identify, or I would say to differentiate between a transitive verb and an intransitive verb. Now, what is that? Transitive verbs always expresses an expression of to be or to have. Means, Ayan likes coffee. Ayan does not like coffee. He has written an email to his aunt. That means it is the state of to be or to have. But intransitive verbs are direct actions. Phrases: went, go, climb. These are called intransitive verbs. So this is a very special trick that you can use to differentiate between a transitive and intransitive verbs. Now, another type of verbs that we have are auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are also called helping verbs. Why? Because they help the main verbs in the sentence to complete the meaning. For example, is, are, am, do, did, can, may, will, must, shall. These are all called auxiliary verbs. They help the main verbs to form the sentences. There are two kinds of auxiliary verbs: primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. In this video, we will cover primary auxiliaries, but we will make another video for the complete detailed chapter on modal auxiliaries. So let's understand what are primary auxiliaries. There are only three primary auxiliaries. They are do, have, be. The verbs like do, does or did. That means wherever the verb do is required, we may also use words like does and did. Have. Wherever the verb have is required, we may use verbs like has, had, having. Be. Wherever the expression of the sentence requires to be, we may use verbs like is, am, are, was, were, been, being. Always remember that we use primary auxiliaries to form tenses, negative questions, and the passive voice. Let's study some examples in detail. To form tenses: I was watching TV. To form negatives: I don't lie. To form questions: how are you feeling now? To form passive voice: a new road has been built here. Now, in all of these four types, did you observe that we have used auxiliary verbs like was, don't, are, has been built? So, in the beginning we did, there are three types of primary auxiliaries. That means do, have, and be. So, in the first sentence where we are trying to form tenses, we used the verb was. I was watching TV. That means we want to form a tense. We want to form a time lapse here. What point in time you were watching TV? So it's something I'm doing right now. I could say I am watching a TV. I was watching a TV. So here we wanted to add tenses. We wanted to describe at what point in time this action was being done. Hence, we used the auxiliary verb to form a sentence with the main verb. The main verb in the sentence is watching. What point in time? Was watching, that means it is a past tense. I am watching, that means it is a present tense. So, auxiliary verbs are used to form tenses. They are helping the main verbs to show at what point in time the action is being done. Similarly, to form negatives, I don't lie, I don't know, I don't swim. Here, in all of these sentences, the main verbs are lie, swim, know. That means these are the main verbs, these are the main action verbs. But you want to change them to negative. So do is used to make a positive sentence. That means you know something, you are doing something, you are aware of it. But if you want to change it to a negative, then you can use the form of do, which is don't. Hence, the auxiliary verb in these sentences are helping us to form negatives. Similarly, some auxiliary verbs help us to form questions. How are you doing? What is she doing? How are you feeling today? How am I doing? That means these verbs are helping the main verbs to form questions. Here we use the helping verbs before the main verbs so that a question can be formed. In most of the questions, we use verbs like is, am, are, was, were. Now, to form passive voice, that means a new road has been built here. Here, the verbs like has been, have been, were being. All of these verbs are used to form the passive voice. That means they help the main verbs to form a passive voice. Hence, the primary auxiliaries such as is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, do, does, did are also used as main verbs. For example, we have a big garden. Rameshwar did the sum in the least time. They were happy. So, the primary auxiliaries, they change according to the person and the number of the subject. That means, I am going by train to my village. Here, we're talking about the first person, I. So, with this, the auxiliary verb am is being used. You were running very slowly. Here, you're talking about the second person. So, the verb were has been used. She is writing a novel. Here we are talking about the third person, she. And this is in singular form as well. That is the reason we have used she is writing. But if you are talking about third person, like they are playing polo, here we are talking about the third person, but these are plural in number. That means they are many in number. So with plurals, you will use are as an auxiliary verb. So it is very clear that the primary auxiliaries change according to the person, that means to the subject we are referring in the sentence, also to what number they are in. If there is a singular noun, we use a different auxiliary verb, but if it is a plural noun, we use a different auxiliary verb. With the first person, we use am. With the second person, we use were or are. With the third person, we use is or are. It depends whether it's a singular noun or a plural noun. So this was all about the topic verbs. We've only touched the tip point of the topic, but verbs play a massive role in the complete English grammar, and you're going to study a lot of topics and a lot of details in each verb type as you go further in your grade 7. Today, what we did is that we understood what is a verb. We understood two kinds of verbs, intransitive verb and transitive verbs. Transitive verbs are those verbs which require an object to form the complete sentence. Intransitive verbs are those verbs which do not require an object to form the complete sentence. We also did auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are those verbs which are also called helping verbs. They help the main verbs to complete the meaning of the sentence. There are two types of auxiliary verbs, primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. In this video, we have only covered primary auxiliaries, and there is a separate chapter and a separate video for modal auxiliaries. So, be with us, stay tuned for our next video lecture. Do practice verbs in your daily life, in your classroom, and with your friends. Thank you.